In this module, we're going to be talking about the Mediterranean diet. The history, what it includes, what it restricts and omits, the health benefits, the health risks, and some practical takeaways. In regards to the history of the Mediterranean diet, the interest began in the 1960s. And this was because heart disease risk was found to be lower in Mediterranean countries, such as Greece and Italy, compared to the United States. And it was recognized by the World Health Organization as a healthy, sustainable nutritional pattern. Now, it's not considered a diet, but a collection of eating and lifestyle habits. That's the difference. Not just diet, but also lifestyle. So what does it include nutritionally? Plenty of colorful fruits and vegetables. Diversity counts. It really encourages us to dive into the rainbow of colors, getting 1 to 2 servings a day of each color. So 7 to 10 servings a day. So more correlated with what the research is showing in regards to long-term health and vibrancy and disease risk reduction. Whole grains, nuts and seeds, legumes at least 3 times a week, olives and avocados as some healthy fat sources, extra virgin olive oil or EVOO as the primary oil used, and herbs and spices. What else does it include? Specifically, fish 2 to 3 times a week, wild caught, and ideally your smash fish. So you remember the salmon, the mackerel, the anchovies, sardines, herring, poultry a few times a week, fermented dairy if one tolerates cow dairy. And this would be more of your kefir, really pronounced kefir, which is a yogurt drink or yogurt. So in moderation. Red wine, low to moderate consumption with meals, so small glasses. Physical activity and sharing meals with family and friends. So those are 2 of the lifestyle factors that are part of this pattern of eating. So it's not just nutrition and food, it's also being active physically and sharing, being socially connected and interacting with loved ones, especially around meal times. Now, what does it omit? What can you not do on the Mediterranean? Ideally, red meat is restricted to less than once a week, and this should be a slow, low-heat cook. Opting for lean, grass-fed options. No to low processed meats, refined and processed grains, highly processed foods, refined oils and trans fats, sweets, sugary drinks, and added sugars. Sounds pretty good. Now, what are the health benefits? It has been widely recognized as the model of healthy eating. It protects against oxidative stress because of the high antioxidant load from your phytonutrients from those colorful vegetables and fruits and whole grains and herbs and spices. It's shown to reduce the level of a oxidative damage marker called 8-hydroxydeguanosine when compared to high saturated fat diets. So this marker, that 8-hydroxydeguanosine, that's a full mouthful, is a biomarker of general cellular oxidative damage to the DNA and proteins in our body. It's also been shown to be very anti-inflammatory because you've got these healthy monounsaturated fats that are higher in omega-3s over the omega-6s because we're restricting and omitting those processed refined oils which are higher in the anti-inflammatory fats. It also impacts the gut microbiome, impacting metabolic health. So there are families of bacteria called Bacteroidetes or short-chain fatty acids, remember from the fat module, and butyrate, which is the preferred fuel source for our colon cells. These all have the potential of attenuating inflammatory autoimmune and allergic disease. And it's high fiber, which feeds our microbiome. So lots of health benefits, more full spectrum. So not necessarily speaking specifically to conditions, but we do know that all chronic disease is inflammatory in nature, driven by oxidative stress. This is going to be a very protective pattern of eating for all of those conditions. So let's talk more about the specifics around the health benefits associated with the Mediterranean diet. Reduced heart disease risk. It has been shown to reduce blood pressure and vascular inflammation, reduce type 2 diabetes risk. In fact, the Mediterranean diet in evidence has been shown to reduce that risk by 52%. Reduced metabolic related conditions such as insulin resistance and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, weight loss, prevention of certain cancers, reduction of the risk for depression and cognitive impairment, and also enhanced telomere length. So telomeres, think of them as like these little shoelace type features off the end of our chromosomes. And as we age, they tend to fray. And so telomeres are that end. So are they fraying or are they still long and viable? So when we have enhanced length, that means that they're more viable and we have a reduced aging effect in our body, physically and physiologically. So it's an anti-aging gauge. So the Mediterranean diet has shown that we're keeping those shoelaces viable and strong and long versus frayed and cutting off. Now there's a Predimed study that was looking at almost 7,500 people with a high risk for heart disease. And they studied them over 4.8 years, and there was 3 different versions. They did the Mediterranean diet and added olive oil, or they did the Mediterranean diet and added nuts, or they did a low-fat control diet. So what they found is that there was the risk of combined heart attack, stroke, and death from heart disease reduced 31%, or by a third, in the Mediterranean plus olive oil group, and reduced 28%, so very comparable in the Mediterranean diet with nuts group, and 13.7, and this is in comparison to the low-fat control group. So that's pretty significant. Also, 13.7% of individuals with metabolic syndrome reversed their condition by following one of the 2 Mediterranean diet variations. So what are the risks in regards to Mediterranean? There really isn't many. The only thing that we can bring up here is remember that this is more of a pattern of living and eating, not just the diet. So if you focus just on the diet, you forgo the other elements of physical activity and social interaction around meals, that community, that can have an impact on your long-term health. So remember, this specific type of diet, Mediterranean, is more of a pattern and a way of living than just a diet. So it's nutrition, activity, and social interaction in regards to sharing meals with others and enjoying life. So what are our practical takeaways regarding the Mediterranean diet? It's a lifestyle. It's plant-based, it includes physical activity, so keep moving, and it involves social interaction. So join your forces, with your loved ones, family, friends, neighbors, have community meals, and share your love around healthy eating. So hope that you learn a little bit more about Mediterranean and look forward to talking to you next time.